Most people think the Mandela Effect is just bad memory, but what if your brain isn't wrong and reality itself has actually changed? Let's start with the one that started it all. In the 1980s, Nelson Mandela was the president of South Africa. But here's the thing. Thousands of people vividly remember him dying in prison in the 1980s. They remember news reports. They remember his widow speaking. They remember riots in the streets, except none of that happened. Mandela was released in 1990, became president, and died in 2013. So why do so many people share a memory of something that never took place? That's the Mandela Effect. It's when a large group of people misremembers the same exact detail. Not just a few confused folks. We're talking about millions of people across different countries, different ages, who all swear they remember something that reality says is false.
Now here's where it gets interesting. The Berenstain Bears. You grew up reading the books, right? Most people remember the name as Berenstain with an E, but it's always been Berenstain with an A. Go check your old books, check eBay, check the official website. It's Berenstain. And yet, when you ask anyone in their 30s or 40s, they'll argue with you. No, it was Berenstain. I remember the cursive logo. Second example, and this one hits hard, the Fruit of the Loom logo. If you're over 25, you probably remember a cornucopia, that horn-shaped basket overflowing with fruit. You can picture it right now, can't you? The brown basket behind the apples and grapes. Except the company says it never existed. No cornucopia, ever. They've released official statements. They've shown decades of packaging. No horn. But check any online poll, over 70% of people say they remember the cornucopia. Some even describe it in detail. Colors, shape, position. That's not just bad memory. That's shared false memory on a massive scale. Let me show you what I mean with another classic. In the movie Snow White, what's the famous line the evil queen says to the mirror? Most people will say, "Mirror, mirror on the wall." But go watch the actual film. It's "Magic mirror on the wall," not "Mirror, mirror." Disney even released the script. It's "Magic mirror." Yet generations of people quote it wrong. Same thing with Star Wars. Darth Vader's big reveal, "Luke, I am your father." Nope. The actual line is, "No, I am your father." He never says Luke. But pop culture has overwritten it.
So what's going on? There are two main theories. One is boring but scientific. The other is wild but fun. Let's start with the boring one. First theory, false memory is incredibly common. Your brain doesn't record reality like a camera. It reconstructs memories every time you recall them. And each time you recall something, you can add new details, lose old ones, or blend in information from other sources. Psychologists call this source monitoring error. You might remember a friend telling you about Nelson Mandela dying in prison, but years later, your brain forgets the source and remembers it as a real event. Add in the internet, where memes, comments, and forums repeat the same wrong information, and you get a feedback loop. Suddenly, millions of people have the same wrong memory. But here's the catch. That explanation doesn't fully satisfy everyone, because why would so many people invent a cornucopia that never existed? What external trigger caused that exact same false image? And why do people from non-English speaking countries also misremember the same things? That's where Theory 2 comes in. Second thing, and this is huge, the multiverse theory. The idea that we're living in one of many parallel universes, and sometimes timelines merge or shift. So you might have come from a universe where the Berenstain Bears were actually the Berenstain Bears, where the Fruit of the Loom logo had a cornucopia, where Nelson Mandela died in the 80s. Then something happened, a quantum fluctuation, a CERN experiment, a glitch in the simulation, and you slipped into a nearly identical universe. Everything is the same except those tiny details, and the only evidence is your memory.
Before you think that sounds crazy, consider this. The Large Hadron Collider at CERN was turned on in 2008.
It smashes particles together at near light speed. Some physicists have theorized that these collisions could create micro black holes or even bump our universe into another one. And interestingly, reports of the Mandela Effect exploded after 2008. Coincidence? Maybe, but the timing is weird. Let's look at another one that blows people's minds. The Monopoly Man. Describe him. Top hat, mustache, cane, monocle, right? Everyone remembers a monocle, but the actual Monopoly Man, Rich Uncle Pennybags, has never worn a monocle. Go look at the official artwork. No monocle. So why do we put one on him? Because Mr. Piat, the Planters mascot, has a monocle, and the two characters look similar. Your brain mixed them. That's a perfect example of source memory error. But here's where it gets tricky. Some people swear they remember the Monopoly Man in TV commercials adjusting his monocle. Those commercials never existed. Okay, that sounded extreme. Let me explain why this matters beyond just being a fun party trick. The Mandela Effect reveals something fundamental about how your mind works. You are not a reliable narrator of your own life. Your memories aren't stored like files. They're rebuilt every time you access them. That means your identity, who you think you are, what you've experienced, is less like a documentary and more like a dream that you keep editing.
But wait, there's another layer. If false memories are so easy to create, what else have you misremembered? Arguments you won, promises someone made, traumas that might have been exaggerated? Eyewitness testimony is famously unreliable. Police lineups are wrong over 30% of the time, and that's just from leading questions. Now imagine how many everyday details you've gotten wrong without ever knowing. Let me give you a test. Do you remember the movie Shazaam, starring Sinbad as a genie? A lot of people do. They remember the purple outfit, the VHS cover, the kid actors. But Sinbad never made that movie. No script, no footage, no poster. Yet there are entire threads on Reddit with people describing scenes. A similar one, the Thinker statue by Rodin. Most people remember the man resting his fist on his forehead, but the actual statue shows his fist under his chin. Check Google Images right now, under the chin. But your brain wanted it on the forehead because that's how you pose when you're thinking. So what's the takeaway? You can't trust your memory blindly, and that's actually a good thing. Because once you understand that, you start fact-checking. You stop arguing about small details. You become more open-minded to other people's perspectives, because their wrong memory feels just as real to them as yours does to you. Now, here's what I want you to do. Before you leave, go check one Mandela Effect example that you remember clearly. Just one. Look it up right now. See if you were right. And if you were wrong, don't get frustrated. Get curious. Comment below the one Mandela Effect that still messes with your head. I'll pin the craziest one. And if you want a deeper dive into how CERN might be causing timeline shifts, click the video on your screen right now. That one goes even deeper.